Hello there, Comic Clan. Welcome to Comics in the Cross. I am, of course, one of your hosts for today, Cross, along with my co-host Nitro.
What up?
And welcome to the greatest streamers you have never heard of. And thank you for joining us here. We are live for episode 3. I can't believe we're in episode 3 already.
Yeah, I thought we'd be arrested by now.
Give it time. Give it time. we're still easing into it. But yeah, I guess just after over a year of build up, it's kind of crazy to think we're now on episode 3. So yeah, we thought we'd kind of we'd go into a special conversation this week because we've been talking about it in our previous conversations. We've been hinting at it a lot, so
Yeah.
we thought, you know what, let's just kind of get this out the road.
It's the elephant in the room, let's be honest.
Yeah, let's just go for it. Let's just have this conversation. Let us just talk about the DCEU. As it currently stands. So to give you a little spoiler for next week, though, we have to talk about this. This is going to be part 1 of a 2-parter. This week, we're going to discuss the DCEU as it currently stands, all 9 films. I say 9 including Joker, although Joker is technically not a DCEU movie. But it is.
What are they calling it? They're calling it something in the universe. What is it?
I can't remember.
I forgot what they're calling it.
It's basically
it's like kind of like the way that they do their animated films.
Yeah, it's like Joker's its own standalone thing, except for when it's not. Except for when it became really, really popular and won an Oscar, and they decided, oh, maybe this should be canon with everything else because it's
let's try to rework this into the timeline
because it's the most successful thing we've done yet since we launched the DCEU.
Because that worked really well for the X-Men series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about that, and then next week is part 2. We're actually going to be pitching. We're going to start from scratch and pitch our own DCEU.
That sounds like fun.
Like, where would we start? What would we do? What films would we put in? Like, literally, we'll pitch our whole phase 1.
Okay.
We'll pitch our whole phase 1.
And some homework.
And kind of like with what Marvel did, how phase 1 was its own thing, but it was an overarching story. Like, are we leading to an overarching story? Like, are we leading
to... yeah. Like the Avengers.
Like, how would we... Like, phase 1 was leading up to Avengers and the combination of that, but the overarching story was the Infinity War.
Yeah.
And Thanos' introduction.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
So it's like that was the starting part of that. So I say that's a good starting point. Like, what movies would we include? What characters would we want involved? How would we do the Justice League movie and bring them all together? It's like, and what would be the overarching thing? I mean, would it be the step out obvious Darkseid? Would we go someone like Brainiac? Would it be someone completely different?
Yeah.
So we're not going to go into any more of that. We do have a habit of rambling, so I'm cutting us off there. That's for next.
Or they could put it all in one movie, like they did with the Justice League. What? Sure.
What? Who said that? Who said that?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. But we actually have a couple of like comic news things we're going to talk about this week first. So just a couple of things I wanted to throw out there. So the big story I'm actually going to leave to last because it kind of comes into our conversation for what's coming up. So first of all, I wanted to... I don't know what they were thinking with this. The first one is Marvel is relaunching the New Warriors comic. New Warriors, for anyone who doesn't know, was basically kind of like a Teen Titans for Marvel. It was the teenage superheroes who were coming together. It was a lot of unknown characters. Unlike where Teen Titans is a bunch of sidekicks, New Warriors really were their own separate, but they were younger heroes.
I never read them. I have a couple issues of the New Warriors, but I never got into them.
It was never massively popular. Like, they tried to put in like Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider at one point and stuff to try and get readers, and I remember that era, but I was never a massive reader of New Warriors.
Yeah.
But this makes sense with Outlawed, like the whole storyline that's going on now, where basically in the Marvel they're saying it's that the teenage heroes are outlawed.
Okay.
There's been issues with it, kind of like the conversation that came around about when Civil War happened. It was the New Warriors that did that, and it set off, the villain that did the nuclear explosion that set off the events of Civil War. It's like, are these heroes basically, a liability as teenagers?
Oh, okay, got it.
So, and that's
interesting.
And that's starting them kind of like bringing in these younger heroes and really getting them to stand on their own feet a little bit. At least I think that's what they're doing. Ones like Kamala Khan and Miles Morales and Nova, who have been like the big teen heroes.
I've seen it. I've seen illustrations of like the Teenage Nova, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
they've been a big part of it. Like they were when we did the all new, all different Marvel. They tried to bring them into the Avengers, and then they were like the three that helped champion and the champions.
Okay.
Did not intend that pun at all. Um, that were part of the champions team, and they seem to be the ones that are kind of at the forefront of the outlaw movement. But it makes sense that coming out of this, we're going to get another new Warriors book because we're going to get the Young Heroes.
Oh, okay.
These are all brand new characters. We're getting a character. I'm trying to remember the names of them. I need give me a sec, because I want to bring up some of these names, because there's two in particular I want to mention, and I've already talked to Nitro about who these heroes are. Like, what were they thinking? Okay. New Warriors Marvel's first. Okay, I'm just trying to get to the right bit. Okay, so yeah, I want to try and get the names of these characters because these characters are cool. I should have had this pulled up already. I am so sorry.
No worries. Just don't let it happen again.
I know. Get beaten back into my corner.
I'll spray you with a water hose. Okay.
I cannot find the article now that's got just the names of the heroes. It's like, where is it? Where is just the new heroes? Like, I see, like, I've got about 5 articles popping up from CBR talking about the outrage.
So you're looking for the new Warriors, new heroes, right?
Yeah, like, just it was on CBR that I found it, but anyway.
Are those a couple of those are the two people that you and I were talking about a couple of days ago?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, yeah, you can spot them, and yeah, it didn't go well. So basically,
Night Thrasher, Firestar, Rage, Speedball.
Yeah, that's all the older ones. So like characters like Speedball and Firestar, I believe, they're kind of been brought back in as like the mentors of this new group because they used to be part of it.
Okay.
I'm going to try.
I think Ironheart might be a new part of the new one.
I know there's a couple of characters. All right, so I've posted a link in the chat so people can look at these characters because you have to see them. I don't know what they were thinking. I get why he did it. So there's characters like there's a living vampire that's kind of like Morbius. There's a guy who can hack into the internet and can do stuff.
Oh my gosh!
But these guys, not even guys, I can't even say that.
How dare you?
They specifically try to do gender fluid heroes because it's like the LGBTQ community, the transgender stuff is becoming a massive thing, and if they're being represented properly, so they wanted to do gender fluid characters.
I mean, just taking the politics out of it, they don't even really look interesting. Like their outfits they look like roller derby people.
I literally look at them and I'm like, oh my goodness, was that the design you came up with? Like, you got one completely in pink, one completely in blue, and I'm like, oh, I get it, they're gender fluid because blue is meant to be for boys and pink's meant to be for girls. So if we put the one that's got the more feminine figure in blue and the one that's got the more masculine figure in pink, and then we say that they're gender fluid, and I'm like,
yeah.
Do you know what it feels like to me? It feels like kindergartners trying to like put something together like that. It's like, well, how would you know that they're gender fluid? Or, well, there's one that's got boobs, so we're going to put them in blue so that it's not a boy thing, and there's one that's not, so we're going to put them in pink. And it's like, really, that's what you came up with? And then the names. I can't even with the name.
Somebody's like, what's the worst name we could possibly name a character?
What's
What's
two of the biggest, most insulting things that are being thrown? And the worst thing as well is, like, they are literally politically charged statements. Yeah. They get a political rise out of people. They called one of them Snowflake and the other one Safe Space.
Yeah.
Which are insults that a lot of the right side of stuff and the right media throw at the left side of stuff, especially towards people like this who get offended at a lot of stuff, that they're being snowflakes, that they're not, that they're very brittle and very, not taking things, and they need a safe space to get away from all the cruelties of the world.
It's funny when these renders first came out online, a former comic book artist, who's I guess more conservative, reimagined both of these people. They kept the color schemes, kept the logos and everything like that, but they kind of did like a Rob Liefeld treatment to it, with like all these guns and like plasma weapons and pouches, and it looked awesome, man. It looked awesome.
You know what? I'd
I
honestly,
gotta see if I can find it.
I'd honestly be up for that because they couldn't have done much worse. It's like, I get, I get the design idea. The reason for calling them Snowflake and Safe Space, they 100% said it is literally because, they're trying to recapture those words. Those words have got very negative connotations to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people within the LGBTQ community and gender fluid people take offense at those sort of things because it's like, it's an insult to stuff. So you get offended at something that's really passionate to you and you get called a snowflake. It's like, no, I'm very passionate about this topic. I'm not just being offended. This means something to me.
Yeah.
I get that. Don't get me wrong. There are people who get offended at everything, which is kind of like, you need to grow up a little bit because offensive stuff happens. I definitely see both sides of it. Mm-hmm. And I get what he was trying to do to recapture these words. And the idea of them seems kind of cool. Like one of them's like, Snowflake is literally cryokinesis, can use ice. Mm-hmm. It's like safe space, can create like shields and stuff like that. So the power scheme's cool. The powers could be utilized,
Yeah.
Having someone with ice powers, you need to do that. Capitalize on Frozen, 100%. It's a Disney company. Capitalize on Frozen. And safe space, something that can create shields and borders. Like, I've been playing Destiny 2 a lot. It's like getting a shield is a handy thing. It's like if it's used properly in a team, I don't have issues with that. Even the designs I can kind of let go. But you must have known the names were going to get a rise out of people, surely.
Yeah, like I actually don't mind when I don't want to say it this way, but when like people try to make political statements with like in comics and stuff like that, because like comic book history is filled with those, right?
Oh yeah,
but when it's like
with that for years,
when it's like the focus, or like they have to rearrange a lot of stuff, and just they're solely basically focusing on that and like making everything points to that. That's when I'm like, okay, I get it. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's like there's been so much backlash to this. There's been so much, and of course there is. I mean, as soon as I read the article, I was like, yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Yeah,
that's never going. I get what you're trying to do, but no, don't do it. So that's the thing. This new Warriors book is pretty much already going. Like, these characters are going to show up. They're at the point where they can't really pull them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm intrigued to see how they're written, because like that's your last chance to save these characters.
Yeah.
And especially them being like non-binary heroes. Like, there aren't really any non-binary heroes that are prominent in Marvel or DC books.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't get characters that are really prominently even gay or transgender in comics.
Yeah.
So it's like doing something that's gender fluid is something that they've never really touched on before. It's a brand new thing.
Yeah.
But
you don't hear about that a lot, man.
But I guarantee if this crashes and burns, this will be the last time for a long time you hear about any gender fluid heroes. Because they'll get the wrong lesson. If this crashes and burns, they'll go like that. Well, people don't want to read about gender fluid heroes and not write them for a while. And it's
it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth.
And it's like, no, this is... Do you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of like back in the 90s. Like, it happened with like different racial characters, like especially African American. But the one I'm thinking specifically is when it happened gender-wise with women. We went through a period in the 90s in comics where the women in the comics were literally, comics are for guys. Mm-hmm. So we're going to over-sexualize every woman on page. Every woman is going to get a sexually charged outfit. Like, I remember the outcry of like, Sue Storm's like Fantastic Four outfit that had a boob window in the floor that was literally pointless and stuff. And it's like, who's meant to be like a homely, strong female character, white.
Yeah, and they all have like impossible S curves in their spine. I'm like, okay, you would like, not be able to walk.
Yeah, like that's literally what it reminds me of. It reminds me of like the comics writing female characters had to evolve to a point where it's like, these are actually strong characters and you can actually enjoy reading them, and they're not just there to be a turn on. That's what it makes me think of when I look at Snowflake and Safe Space. It's like, it makes me feel like it's a tester pancake. When you make a pancake and that first one's never quite right because you put it in the pan, you've got the heat wrong, and it turns out not quite right. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's the first foray into gender fluid characters.
Yeah, like how not to create a character.
Yeah, and it's
first off, you start off with an idea to make them, gender fluid, and then you create an awesome story, or then the story is second, their backstory is second. You know what I'm saying?
The
I don't
first
know.
two things he thought of were either we're going to make them gender fluid or the names. I don't know which came first, but one of those options came first. Either they
Yeah,
went, we're going to have gender fluid characters, or somebody went, call them Snowflake and Safe Space, or somebody literally came up with the idea of making the characters called Snowflake and Safe Space, and then went, oh, we could make them gender fluid.
yeah,
Literally, I guarantee you that was the first two thoughts, and nobody in the room went, that's an issue.
yeah. Nobody's like, well, let's pump the brakes on that real quick.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm intrigued. We don't have any more information on it at this point than like the new Warriors comic is coming, and these characters are going to be in it. So I'm going to give
Yep.
it the benefit of the doubt to see how they're written. They're not off to a great start, but the writing, if done well, could save it, I think.
Yeah,
But it's going to have to be phenomenal writing to save it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree 100%. I'm trying to find that picture of that artist that had reimagined them, and I can't find it.
No worries, we'll throw it up in the chat if we
Yeah,
can find it later on, and if not, we'll throw it up on social media later.
yeah,
We'll throw it up for that. So like them I had to mention because like I wasn't getting through without mentioning those characters.
yeah.
Um, so next thing I wanted to mention, we got some concept art from Thor: Love and Thunder that was released.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too exciting. Two major images. One was New Asgard, which we saw in Endgame, which is in Norway on Earth now. So it looks like we're going to be getting a look at New Asgard again in the new Thor movie. And then the other one was a white, like armored suit that seems to be for Meek, or at least a member of Meek's species.
Hmm.
So Meek, the dead bug, who wasn't quite dead at the end of Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it was like a little larva.
It's like that. It's like, oh, he's dead. I've just been carrying around. Oh, he's alive. So Meek's going to get his weaponry back and apparently get like an armored suit, but like literally that's the only two things they've released. We know as much as we knew beforehand. Like New
Yeah.
Asgard's in it. It's like we were probably going to go there because they were going to have Valkyrie in it. I was sure because, and then Meek was going to get a suit. Like, well,
Yeah.
that's good because otherwise he was going to do nothing in the movie. So
Yeah.
there's literally nothing more to say on it than that. I don't think at this point we still don't know anything.
Yeah.
Again, it's been pushed back drastically, so we're probably not going to get anything on it for a while. All right, and then I have a couple of things coming out in comics from the DC side of things that I thought was interesting to mention. So upcoming is the Death Metal event from Scott Snyder. This is a follow-up to Dark Knight's Metal. We've talked about it before. I think I mentioned it before in the podcast that Wally West, like Dr. Manhattan powered Wally West, is going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is leading towards a new crisis taking place. Well, apparently now Dr. Manhattan himself is also going to appear in it.
Hmm.
So this is also a follow-on from Doomsday Clock and from the stuff that we've been seeing. So I think we're honestly heading towards a crisis, and I think this is going to wrap it up.
Okay.
Is that we're going to see Dr. Manhattan taking place. There's no more information on it than that. Kind of like with Wally, there's no extra information on what they're going to be doing or anything.
Yeah.
Chances are we're going to see Dr. Manhattan and Wally West interacting because
Okay.
they've both got that level of power.
Yeah.
We might see them fighting, but I know we're at least going to see them. But
I really want to get into that Dark Knight or the Dark. What is it?
Dark
What is it
Knight's
again?
Metal, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't read any of that,
Such a good story.
and I haven't read any of the DC stuff with the Watchmen either.
Yeah, you're not missing much with the Watchmen stuff. Like literally,
Really?
like Doomsday Clock got postponed for so long. I think everybody got bored of it, and then they went, "Oh yeah, this final issue's happening, so we're finally going to bring back everybody that we've already started stories for."
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it was meant to come out within a year. Like it was literally 12 issues, one every month, and then it got postponed like for almost a year at one point.
Okay, got it.
So it's like I'm kind of just ready for the Watchmen stuff to be done. Just
Yeah.
can we just move on from it? Like it was when we did DC Rebirth, it was a cool idea, but literally DC has moved on from this now, and we're kind of just almost pushing the Doctor Manhattan stuff now.
Yeah.
And it's like whatever idea you had, I feel like it fell apart. So can we just drop it?
It's like, yeah, we ran out of ideas, so we're gonna pull from a totally different comic and just start taking them over.
Yeah, which of course Alan Moore had to absolutely love that. He hates
Oh,
the fact
yeah.
that they're doing that with his stuff, but But yeah, so that's going to be interesting to look forward to in Death Metal, just to see what they do. Like, I think we're definitely heading towards a new Crisis with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
That's interesting.
and then the last thing I kind of have, this was an interesting one that I had just read the other day, is Scott Snyder, who's best known in DC for his Batman run in the New 52. Phenomenal run on Batman. Absolutely amazing. We just mentioned him wrote Dark Knight's Metal, is writing DC Death Metal. Apparently he's actually pitched a Nightwing issue, because someone asked
Really?
him on Twitter.
I know that's your jam, man.
Oh yeah, I love Nightwing. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of staticky for your mic again.
Really? Hold up.
Yeah. Right, we've got a new computer on his side, and we've been having some static just kind of kicking it up. So we had a week without technical issues. It was lovely.
Let me know if that's better.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit better than it was.
All right, sweet.
So Scott Snyder, for people that don't know as well, Scott Snyder writing Batman didn't begin with the New 52 run. It actually began prior to the New 52 run with one of the most beloved Batman stories that there is called Black Mirror. People love it. People think it's a real throwback to
Black Mirror, you said?
Yeah. People think it's a real throwback to the old school Batman, to him being a true detective. It brings in a possible, new big villain, which all of this stuff got stopped dead because the New 52 happened. But the thing is, Batman at that time wasn't Bruce Wayne. It was Dick Grayson.
Huh.
That was Dick Grayson. So technically the first Batman he wrote was Dick Grayson, and it's one of the most beloved Batman stories. So the prospect of him taking over a Nightwing book, I'm all for.
Yeah.
Even if it's like an Elseworlds book,
yeah,
it's going to be really interesting because he knows how to write Dick Grayson. My other thing for that is I would love to see him take over writing the main Nightwing book. I don't think it's going to be the main one, but I will take anything to stop this stupid Rick Grayson storyline and the whole stuff they've got with the Talons going on now, and he's no longer Nightwing, and which I felt like was part of Dan Didio's stuff of like when Jeff Johns stepped down, was like, oh, I hate Dick Grayson, so we're gonna
totally change it.
We're gonna totally change it. Just like when he tried to get rid of Nightwing before, and they made the Grayson book, where it's like, I'm gonna take away Nightwing and just turn him into a secret agent.
Oh my gosh!
And then it backfired because everybody loved the book.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was it. So if Scott Steiner does take it over, I'm down. Scott Steiner is one of my favorite writers right now in comics. He's phenomenal. I would definitely check it out either way, if it's in continuity or not.
Yeah.
If it is continuity, I will be so happy.
On a tangent, I follow a lot of comic book artists and inkers and colorists on Twitter, and Greg Capullo, he's the penciler, I believe, for Dark Knight Metal, and I've seen some of the stuff behind the scenes. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
It looks bat crap crazy, but it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, he was the artist on the Dark Knight's Metal stuff, and he's going to be the artist. He was artist on Last Night on Earth, the last Batman story they did. He's going to be the artist on Death Metal. Yeah. He was the artist on the Batman series along with Scott Snyder, like the New 52 run.
Yeah.
The two of them have done so much stuff together, and literally he was the guy that designed the Batman Who Laughs, and Scott Snyder said himself.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that.
Like, he saw the Batman Who Laughs design from Greg Capullo, and he's like, literally all I'm going to need to do to pitch this event is show them this picture. That's literally all I'm going to need to do.
He looks awesome, man.
And it is. It's like an amazing horror design.
Yeah.
It's Agreed. An amazing horror character. It's so well done.
Agreed.
So that's most of the news. The last bit of news, of course, dropped. We did our podcast. Everything was nice and happy. And I woke up Monday morning and I checked my Twitter feed, and it was full of videos of Ezra Miller choking a lady.
Yeah. Not a good look, Ezra. Not a good look.
And it's like, it's one of those things of like, it has to be mentioned. I'm going to go out on this and say, like, there could totally be another side of this.
Yeah, and I think there is. I think there's more to the story. I don't know. I watched it a handful of times, and I felt like he wasn't really being forceful with her, and I think she was laughing the whole time. So I think either they know each other, or that this was like a planned thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Because apparently it was meant to be like it was a fan, and then it was like it was a fan, and then it was like a play fight thing she was trying to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
and then like he grabbed her by the throat and put her up against that, and then put her on
Yeah.
the ground, and it was like, I don't know the full details of that.
Well, and like you said, he hasn't come out and said anything, so that's not a good
Yeah,
look. You know what I'm
that's
saying? That like you
that's
need
the
to
only
say
thing.
something.
Yeah,
You
like
need to provide some context.
that's the big thing. Is like, okay, yeah, he's not. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to say that there's another side to the story. We're only seeing this short video clip of this short thing, and one person's interpretation of it, and what
Hmm.
the person that apparently videoed it said it happened.
Yeah.
I'm fully prepared to believe there's another side to this.
Yeah.
The issue is that it's been a week, and I have not seen anything from Ezra Miller
Yep. I agree.
saying what happened or coming out in defense. And I'm like, if that wasn't you doing that for real, if that was done in jest, if it was something that went too far,
Hmm.
why are you, your publicity team, and your manager not freaking on top of that
Yeah, I agree
with
100%.
something like that? Should have been out on Monday night.
Yeah, I don't like even if it's not real and they're just trying to play a prank. Like I don't know what he thinks he's doing. Like this is not going to end well for him.
But that's it.
Either way.
Even if it's a prank, come out and say that. Do
Yeah,
something. It's
I
like,
agree.
which of course is like is, and of course that started the internet an uproar, because the internet was an uproar for most of the fact of like that, mostly Warner Brothers, because Ezra Miller's part of two massive franchises for Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah.
One of the main ones we're talking and we're going to talk on today is the DCEU. He is the
Oh,
Flash,
Harry Potter. He's in Harry Potter too.
and
Or
he's
I'm
in
not sorry.
yeah, the
Harry Potter.
Fantastic Beast, which is
Yeah,
part
that's
of the
right.
Wizarding World of Harry Potter. He is in the
Yeah.
Fantastic. He's not only in Fantastic Beasts. As of the second Fantastic Beast movie, he's a major character
Yeah.
in the upcoming movies.
Yep.
You know, sorry if there's going to be spoilers at all for that. For anyone here that's not seen that, it's been out for a while. If you've not seen it, you're probably not going to see it at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler. Always
This show is just a gigantic spoiler
yeah,
alert.
always spoiler
Just
alerts with us. I don't trust our mouths to not say something we're not meant to. So spoilers warning, like always. But yeah, so it's like so there's a big outcry for Warner Brothers to have a response to this, because they don't want some fans are like, we don't want someone like that being like ahead of these franchises.
Yeah.
And then it's also started the conversation again, regarding the whole Amber Heard thing.
Mm.
Because obviously, if anyone doesn't know about this, which most people probably do by now, there was a whole thing against Johnny Depp that he was apparently being abusive towards his wife, Amber Heard.
Yeah, she had visible marks on her.
Yeah, and it's like, and he got so much abuse. A lot of people turned against him and stuff like that, and didn't want him to be cast anymore. And then it came out that actually he was the one being abused, and there was actually recorded audio. That she admitted to physically abusing him.
Mm-hmm.
She was verbally abusing him, and there's been kind of an outcry that there hasn't been like a response. Like, for example, like the big thing is with Warner Brothers, she plays Mera in the Aquaman movie.
Yep.
And at this time, she is still scheduled to appear in Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
That's on the books for a few years out, but like she's still scheduled to appear on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an outcry for that, because like, why do you have this person who's been, you know, physically abusive and verbally abusive to someone, and who's been domestically abusing her husband, as you know, as one of the main characters here? And it's brought up that conversation again of like, well, if you've not got her involved in it, why? And then you do something to Ezra Miller, then you're kind of looking like a hypocrite then.
Yeah. Well, and it's also come out that she had those markings that she had, that was makeup. Because her makeup artist and stylist said, yeah, she had no markers on her that day.
Yeah.
So
It's like, yeah. And that's a whole thing itself, the Amber Heard thing. It's like, I'm not going to go into that too much. Just like the tapes are out there if you want to hear them, if you want to listen to what happened to it. And you know, even on her social media, she's like limited the amount of comments and stuff she can get in post, because she was being ripped apart.
Mm-hmm.
The woman's been ripped apart for what she did. She doesn't need me ripping her apart on our podcast.
Yeah.
You know, the evidence looks like it's there. She physically abused her husband. It was wrong.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's putting Warner Brothers in an interesting position of this stuff coming out about her, and then depending what the result of this stuff with Ezra Miller is, it's not going to look good for Warner Brothers.
No, it's not.
But speaking of that stuff, though, I think it's a good time to jump into actually talking about the DCEU. The conversation that everyone came here for, the conversation that we got people, that don't actually follow us on social media yet liking the post that we're going to be talking about the DCEU, mixed with people giving a no
This is going to be
reaction,
fun.
and I'm like, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there right now. We are going to be honest as to our views.
Yes.
We are going to 100% try and we're going to try and see both good and bad in this.
We'll try to be partial or impartial, not partial. We'll try to be impartial.
Yeah, being partial is very easy at this.
But we're going to be very honest.
Yeah, we're going to try and be impartial. We're going to be honest about the fact of what we feel about these movies, about what we think about them, and about where the DCEU is. But at the same time, we're going to be honest on our views. So it's like, and a lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people are going to disagree. I mean, I was saying to Nitro earlier on, like literally I checked Twitter before we became live, and one of the trending topics in America right now is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like the hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League is literally trending. Do you know when Justice League came out? Do you
Folks,
remember?
The Snyder cut is not happening. So let's just move
Justice
past
League
that.
came out at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
I almost forgot it was that long ago until I looked up the date of its release. It's been over 2 years since that was released, and people are still crying for the Snyder Cut.
It's not going to happen. I mean, I was talking to you, I think a couple days ago, and I think Ray Fisher came out and said that he had been scheduled to see a cut of it or whatever, but then something came up and he had to postpone. And
a bunch of
Zack Snyder keeps posting all these behind the scenes pictures of unfinished CGI, like Ray Fisher in a spandex gray suit with white dots on him. I'm like, if it was really finished, like we would see at least some footage.
Yeah.
Like somewhere.
My two big things for it, and this is my kind of stances on it for the Justice League. First of all, if there was a finished Snyder Cut, I do not believe they would have had to bring in Joss Whedon.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they didn't just bring in like an editor to finish putting it together or to finish Zack's vision. They brought in a new director.
So here's my thing. So this is how I think it went down. So I think DC had done a really good job of producing one-off Batman films and Superman films as well.
Yeah.
Besides maybe Superman Returns, I actually like that movie. I like Superman Returns, even though he didn't really do anything in the movie. I think it's a really beautiful movie. But anyways, that movie aside, I think they did a really good job of doing one-off Batman films. And then Marvel came along in the late 2000s and started crushing it. And DC was like, okay, I like what they're doing, but let's actually expedite the process and let's get to the main event in like 2 years. So let's throw everything we can in every single movie that we can and cross-reference every single character possible to get to that endpoint. And it was just a cluster, dude.
100%,
yeah.
I think with Justice League for me, it's a case of if there was a finished Snyder Cut, I do not believe they'd have brought Joss Whedon in to finish it, and I do not believe they would have let him do the amount of reshoots he did, because why would you let him reshoot the amount of footage he reshot if you had a completed movie?
I heard a stat somewhere that he reshot like close to 50% of the movie.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of the movie he reshot. Like, why would you waste money doing that if you've already got the movie finished? And then also, the big thing, especially with Warner Brothers where they are right now, if there was a completed Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, why would Warner Brothers not want money?
Yeah.
The outcry, there are millions that have signed a petition for this, that want this movie, that want the Zack Snyder cut. Why would you not have released, especially with how badly Justice League bombed?
My understanding of what happened was that when you hire Zack Snyder, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a super creative style. That's what they originally were going for. And he's going to put his own take on it, obviously, just like he did with Man of Steel, which is my favorite film of the DCEU. But I think when they saw the first cut of it, they were like, "That doesn't look like those Marvel movies that we like. That's not fun. It's
Yeah.
super heavy." Um, there might have been some sort of like high level first cut from Zack Snyder, a la the Zack Snyder cut, but I don't think it was finished. I don't think it was finished. I just think it was a rough cut of this is what I want to do.
I
Um,
I could
I don't
definitely
know.
see kind of like what you're saying there actually with how the Marvel movies were, because like the thing is people forget that like when Batman v Superman came out and when Suicide Squad dropped,
Hmm.
Justice League was already in production. They literally kind of shot Batman v Superman and Justice League back to back. It was meant to
Yeah,
be, it was always meant to be like a two-part thing itself, let alone Justice League having a part two movie.
yeah. I
So
just
they
think
so
they
they were
just
all,
got way too far ahead of
but they
themselves,
were
man.
already creating Justice League, and then Batman v Superman dropped, and one of the biggest complaints people had is too dark. It's too
Yeah.
dark. It's too gritty. It's too. There's no hope. There's no light. There's no side to it. Which I get a lot of people don't like. Some people don't like that in the Marvel movies that they are so light and they are so fun. It's like, but they do serious as well.
See, I don't get that. Well, I mean, I can see where people are coming from when they say that. I think Batman versus Superman for me is like it's not a great movie, but
Oh no.
it's a guilty pleasure of mine because there's aspects of that movie that are like, for instance, Batman warehouse scene. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I don't have to elaborate. That's one of the best pieces of action in a Batman film ever.
The Batman warehouse scene is 100% one of the top things in the entire DCEU.
Agreed.
I
100%.
would pit that up there against like entire movies in the DCEU that are great. Like
Yeah.
um but since we're starting to break stuff down, let's start going through the movies in. Like
Yep.
because we kind of touched Justice League, we're touching Batman and v Superman. So let's start. So the very first one that came out, part of the DCEU, whether or not it was meant to be part of the DCEU, because I don't know if this was intended to be like a fully joint universe at this point,
Hmm.
was Man of Steel.
Awesome movie.
That was the first one, and that actually came out. I didn't realize like when that came out. It came out in 2013.
Okay.
So
So that movie was coming off the tails of Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. So I remember there was a big outcry after that movie that there was literally no action from Superman in that movie.
oh yeah,
And like you want to see Superman break bad. Like that's what people, he's the strongest person. Like he's the Thor of the DC universe, right? You
yeah.
want to see him break bad, and we got that. I think we got that in Man of Steel. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, that's it. You want to see Superman do that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and so with 2013, it's like remembering where this is in time. So the MCU is already in full swing. They've
Hmm.
literally a year prior to this had the Avengers.
Yeah.
Superman, Man of Steel has already taken place. It's already been filmed
Hmm.
and is about to come out. So literally, regardless of the reaction to Avengers, there's nothing DC can do at this point. This
Yeah.
is their opening movie.
Yep.
I personally liked it. I enjoy Man of Steel. I I don't agree with the whole him killing Zod at the end,
I can see where you're coming from.
but I get why they did it, and I can accept it as of what's I accept Zack Snyder's reasoning
Uh,
for it.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see
My
what you're
my
saying.
issue with it is kind of like okay, I'm kind of going to jump into the other films because this is a reoccurring thing I've seen in the DCEU.
Hmm.
Is like there's a lot of cherry picking. There's a lot of like I want this aspect and this aspect and this aspect and this aspect, and because they're trying to play to fans and things that fans love.
Yeah.
The problem is I feel like they're trying to play to it without the build up.
Agreed.
So like Man of Steel, like 100%. I love the prospect of like he had no other choice than to kill Zod. I
Yeah.
love that prospect of like to save people. Although I'm not going to get into the whole aspect of like there was a whole open section of the bank, those people could have ran out the road and not get blasted by Zod.
We're just gonna stand here in the corner and not move.
Yeah, we're just there's a superpowered person stopping him. We're not going to move out this corner. We're going to stand here
Yes,
and see what happens.
freaking laser beam shooting out of his eyes, and it's slowly coming towards me at 1 mile an hour. I could move at a leisurely pace, or I could
But
just sit
I'm
here and
not.
let
You know,
let Superman kill him.
I'm not even going to go into that aspect of it. It's like just the aspect of like I am fine with him killing Zod because
Yeah, yeah.
I like
He
the,
killed him in the Richard Donner movies back
yeah,
in the
it's
day.
like I like the aspect of like of him being met with, this is the first Kryptonian I've met
Mm-hmm.
in person, and I have been forced to kill them. I love that torment for the hero, that kind of story.
Yeah.
My problem is, this is your first movie of the DCEU, your first Superman movie of
Mm-hmm.
this new era. You've jumped ahead to character development that's meant to show a change, like to show that he's changed and he's been forced into that aspect without building up the sort of man he is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I feel like this is something that they've played on later movies, like when we got Batman v Superman, we got Batman, but it's the Dark Knight Returns Batman, who's like the old disheveled Batman, which I love that Batman.
Yeah.
Batman is 100% one of my favorite things about the DCEU.
Great.
But Dark Knight Returns is at the end of his career after we've seen everything else.
Yeah, it bothered me talking about characters killing people. It bothered me more that Batman killed in Batman versus Superman than Superman killed Zod.
Yeah, but again, I could kind of almost accept it of like if he's at the end of his career and he's kind of pushed to this level of where he doesn't care anymore.
He's like, whatever.
But we've not seen that other aspect of him, and I'm like, I get we've seen Batman movies before and we know what Batman's like, but you're establishing this Batman.
Yeah.
And he's establishing him and he's going to get back to what he's meant to do and join the Justice League. Like, he's about to keel over and die.
Well, yeah, it's like, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. I feel like they're trying to fit too much in such a short time frame. It's like reading through a book and only reading like every other page.
And then the ultimate they went too far was at the end of Batman v Superman when they done the death of Superman.
Yeah.
It's his second movie.
This is the first time we've seen the Trinity on film. Hey, why don't we kill Superman? Oh, we have this Ninja Turtle looking Doomsday dude. We'll throw him in there too.
It's the second movie that Superman has been in. It's the second movie in the DCEU, and you're already killing him off.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
And then you've already announced Justice League, so I'm like, what was the point?
Yeah.
You gave us no intentional build-up. You gave us no suspense. We know he's coming back, even without that other stuff floating off his coffin for no reason because he's dead.
Did you see? All right, so I saw Zack Snyder said something about that on Twitter the other day. He was basically like, "Yeah, that wasn't a foreshadowing of him coming back. That was just an allegory of the S or Superman stands for hope." And I'm like, "Really?
How?
Really?
How does that show hope? You're too freaking arsy for your own good, Zach. You really
I
are.
know. I'm like, all right, dude. Let's just
it's
take
an
it down a
allegory
notch.
for hope, and I'm like, it's an allegory for hope. Bear in mind, like 5 minutes prior, you literally had him being lowered, looking like Jesus coming off the cross.
Yeah, it's an allegory for sequel will make more money. Yeah,
it's like he's a sign for hope. You literally had him like floating in space in a crucifixion and being raised by the sun, and then dying and being lowered with a tapestry under his arms, like Jesus being lowered off the cross about to get buried at Easter. It's like
I didn't even think about that.
Those are images of hope, and like, oh no, the dirt rising off the coffin, that's hope. Screw you. That's hope. No, it's like that's my issue with the DCEU up to that point.
Well, and also like talking about Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, just those two movies, I feel like the Superman that we got in Man of Steel and then the Superman that we got in Batman versus Superman, I feel like they're almost two different Supermans.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I felt like he was a prick, a jerk in the second one, in Batman versus Superman. You know, I don't know.
Oh yeah, and the second one, it's like that's one of the big complaints about Batman v Superman is the fact that Superman is so dark.
Yeah, you know, like he was beating the brakes off of Bruce Wayne, knowing that he's a human being and knowing that he could totally obliterate him.
Yeah, no, this is a human being in a metal suit that he could snap, and it's like
he threw him through a building. Like he did not think that he was going to get seriously injured by that.
Yeah, it's like the first in Man of Steel, you don't see that Superman. I mean. There's a lot of questionable stuff in there for who's.
Well, thinking about the scene in the restaurant when that dude's like he poured beer all over his head or whatever, and he just went outside and like shoved his truck into a telephone pole.
Yeah.
He didn't physically do anything to that dude. He still taught him a lesson.
Yeah, he didn't do anything to the dude because he knows I could kill him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's the thing is like it's
inconsistent character.
Yeah, and Man of Steel is got a great portrayal of Superman. I feel there's elements of it that aren't like. I kind of get what they were doing with Jonathan Kent, but I feel like he was one of the weakest parts of Man of Steel.
Because, you think?
Yeah, because I think like I agree with what everyone says on that. Like the fact that like that is like, you know, like what happens if people, like if the school bus had went over the edge, what am I meant to let them die? Like maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
like,
I was like,
I
no,
I
no.
understand what they were trying to do because it's like it's his son and he doesn't want to see his son. He knows what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
I almost kind of attest that to. I've been watching The Chosen recently with my wife. We've been watching The Chosen, and there's a scene in it, like in episode 5, they do the whole water into wine thing. So he goes to the wedding, and they really play up the fact of like, they've ran out of wine at the wedding and what that means in Jewish culture. It's like this is meant to be a party that goes on for days, and it's like day one. And if this gets out that there's no wine there for this party, this celebration, it would bring dishonor on the family.
Yeah.
So like, so his mother goes to him and asks Jesus, like, can you make this into water into, can you get us more wine? You have the ability, I know you do. And it's like his hesitance at doing it is the fact of like, he says it's not my time yet, knowing full well like he's been doing stuff in private, but like when you then do that first public ministry, there's no going back. And I get that of like, in Man of Steel he wants Clark to not reveal himself, because once it's revealed that there's someone that's on Earth with this power, there's no going back. Everything's changed forever. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's not possible. So I get that aspect of it, but I'm like, I never seen Jonathan Kent as someone who would say, yeah, just let them die, or even like he tells Clark to not save him. I can kind of get behind that, because like it's not sacrificing anyone else. He's saying, don't reveal yourself, let me die, to try and keep him safe. That I can kind of get behind and what they were trying to do. But like if there's people in danger, oh yeah, let them die. No, that's Jonathan Kent would never do that. Any iteration of Jonathan Kent would never have done that.
I think purely from a movie making standpoint, I think Man of Steel has some of the best visuals, music, photography, and like fight choreography, I think, of any of the movies.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good aspects to Man of Steel. I think there are elements like that which I didn't enjoy, but like I can almost overlook them with Man of Steel of like, because overall I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. And like the fight when they're fighting in the street, when he's fighting against those Kryptonians, that is just awesome. It's phenomenal.
The thing is that they then followed up Man of Steel with Batman v Superman. Bear in mind, this was 3 years later.
Batman versus Superman. Good grief.
2016.
Lex Luthor, rather.
2016 this came out. So this is 3 years after Man of Steel. We've been waiting 3 years for the sequel at this point. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, the trailers looked amazing. I was hyped for this movie. I was so excited on the trailers. I thought this looks amazing. I'm not sure about the Batman v Superman aspect, but I'm like, you know what? It's an interesting way to go with this. And I'm like, I'm up for it. And you want to talk about them cherry picking stuff. Oh my goodness, it's like we had the depressed Superman, we had the Dark Knight Returns.
You had Zuckerberg Luthor.
Yeah. What was that?
I think that probably pissed me off more than anything. That aspect. I'm like, come on, man. Really? Like, you messed up him? How can you mess him up?
Lex Luthor, probably the greatest and the most well-known Superman villain. An aspect, and he was a great idea for an addition to the movie, because you've got him as a villain of Superman, but he's also a businessman and a billionaire like Bruce Wayne. He's a great person to use as like the big bad to play off both of them.
Agreed.
That was a great idea. It's like it was a great choice.
It's like somebody handed them a plate with gold on it and they threw it in the trash.
Yeah. Because bear in mind, like DC, like Warner Brothers owns all the characters. Marvel had sold their character rights off to people to make the MCU. They had the C-listers left, and they
Marvel spanked DC with their C-list.
Yeah,
is what it came down to.
Yeah, they literally did. It's like it came down to that because they had their A-list characters there, and they had time to build a joint universe, and it didn't work. It's like you had an older Batman who you're trying to jump into the middle of his story, who looked like he was about to retire. We had Superman going on a depressive stage. We had the awful Lex Luthor. We had whatever the heck that Doomsday was.
Oh my gosh. Cave Troll, Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, he literally looks like the Cave Troll from the Fellowship of the Ring. It literally looks like his double.
It's like it's like DC had the 1995 Chicago Bull All-Star team, and Marvel was like, "Hey man, we got this high school varsity team. They're pretty good," and they just ripped them a new butt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like they literally ripped them apart, and it's like it was insane.
yeah.
It really was.
Dude,
It was like,
yeah, Doomsday. Like, all right, so I know I said this on our first episode. One of the comics that like made the biggest impression on me when I was younger was the death of Superman. So I have a
oh
very
yeah,
vivid image of the Doomsday in that comic. And in no way did the Doomsday of Batman or was Batman versus Superman, yeah, look like him in any way
oh
possible.
no, 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 not
And like
even
even his
close.
origin, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like you can't make him a little bit like look a little bit like him. The spikes don't count. He's got to look a little bit like him and not a cape troll.
it's the scary thing I think is that when you look at it and you're like, I have literally seen cosplayers put on better like Doomsday outfits and Doomsday costumes
Yes.
than what this
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar company
Agreed.
did with their CGI budget, and I'm like, I don't know what they were thinking with it.
Yeah.
And then just to top off Batman v Superman, it's like, hey, let's throw Wonder Woman in there, but let's not actually do anything with her. Let's hint at Aquaman and Flash.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's put this really weird Flash cameo from the future that we're not going to explain anything from.
yeah, it's like Flash.
Okay.
Do you know what? I literally had to look online after I seen Batman v Superman to know what was going on there. I didn't realize it was the Flash at first. I literally didn't. I just seen this whole opening and someday there. It took me like until afterwards to go, oh crap, that was a Flash.
Only reason I know it was him is because I could see Ezra Miller's face, but
Yeah.
if hadn't have seen his face, that there would have been like no way. I would have
No,
never
it's
known.
like, but that's the thing that gets me with that. It didn't even make sense because it was like, oh, if it came for the future to like give a warning, it's like that Lois Lane was the key to Superman, which ends up not even playing a part in anything really. It's like Lois gets through to him, which you literally didn't need to do that for her to have got through to him.
Well, it's like they're okay. So Batman versus Superman, they're trying to introduce the Justice League. They're doing the Trinity for the first time. They're going to do Death of Superman, and they're also going to introduce Flashpoint. So there you go.
Yeah, but did
That's
they
what I'm saying. Like way too much.
But did they introduce Flashpoint? Because after
Well,
that happens,
they were
Bruce
hinting
Wayne
at
wakes
it at
up.
least. Yeah,
He wakes up, so I'm like, so Flash time traveled back into his dream?
and that was it. They never explained it. That was it.
No.
That's the only time
And
that's
then
ever happened, and they never. There was no context, no anything.
no, and then Bruce Wayne also has another dream where it's like we get to see the nightmare,
Yeah,
where it's like the apocalypse run Earth where like Darkseid is taking over, but we're not going to mention Darkseid. We're just going to show parademons.
yeah,
And then apparently Superman's gone all injustice on us and is now the bad guy.
yeah. Also, no context on that either.
But we're not going to get a context to that, and nor are we going to explain it in the upcoming movies that come out and explain why Batman of all people had these visions of things to come. It's like they were trying to build up to it, and I honestly believe to this day it comes down to they wanted Avengers money.
Oh,
They
I
wanted
agree.
They wanted Avengers
yeah.
money now.
Yeah,
The problem was that they forget Iron Man came out in 2008 and they built up with different heroes every year up till Avengers in 2012.
yeah.
We
It's
literally,
like the
we literally got Man of Steel in 2013, and then they tried to do 2 origin stories and 3 other books and all this stuff, and then the death of Superman in 1 movie,
yeah.
and then like go into Justice League and go, hey, these are fully fleshed out characters. Like, no, they're not. You've not. Who are they?
Yeah,
If I'm not-
it's like the tortoise and the hare, man. It's like Marvel did it very slow and methodical, and they got to where they needed to go, and they were super successful. And DC was like, "Well, we're way better than you because we got way better characters, so we're just gonna do it twice as fast and just hammer everything in."
Batman
And
v
no,
Superman
it doesn't
and,
work.
and Justice League both to me come across. They're not so much movies showing off their characters as it's basically it's like a compilation reel of Easter eggs for comic fans.
Justice League was awful.
It's
I'm
literally
sorry
a
if you liked it. It was
it's
awful.
literally a compilation. I actually enjoyed Justice League more than Batman v Superman, literally because I felt like at least it was a linear story.
Mhm.
They didn't try to like just randomly throw stuff together. There was at least I could follow what was happening. What was happening was crap, but
Yeah.
I could follow what was happening.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm the type of person that does a lot of research on like movies or games or anything like that I'm gonna get. And I had heard a ton about I was following this Reddit thread for the DCEU, and I heard a ton about the CGI in Justice League, specifically Superman and his mustache, or the lack of mustache. And I remember going into the
Oh,
movie thinking it can't be that bad, or they wouldn't have released it. They wouldn't, especially for Justice League. This is their dream team. And the opening scene with Superman talking to that kid on his mobile phone, I think is probably some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life.
that's one of the most
Worse than the Captain Marvel one
that is one of the
version.
most comedic scenes I've ever seen in a movie ever.
Yeah,
Do you know the worst thing about it is like, okay, yeah, the moustache is gone later on, and I don't think it's as noticeable in later scenes because like at least there's other stuff happening. But at least those scenes had a point. There was literally no point in that opening scene. It didn't connect to anything.
it
You
was.
literally had this kid filming Superman and having this conversation randomly for no reason.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was you're trying to build up who Superman was. Like it wasn't needed. So not only have you stuck the worst bit of CGI ever at the start of it, there is no need for it.
yeah.
There is literally no need for it.
It was awful, man. It's like somebody put a Snapchat filter on Henry Cavill. It was awful. Somebody put a Superman Snapchat filter on a bearded Henry Cavill. That's what that looked like.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's like, which I'm like, I still don't even get his contract though. Like, oh, he wasn't allowed to shave for his contract, and I'm like, why are you scared he won't be able to grow his mustache again? For
Yeah.
like, I know he's
I don't
coming
know.
back for reshoots, and he's still like technically filming that Mission Impossible movie at the time. But I'm like, he can come back and with a
Yeah.
grown mustache. I mean, like, I don't know about you, but my beard grows in pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, somebody they were talking about how it's much easier for us to shave his face, and we will pay for the CGI for his beard. And they showed them examples and how good it looked, but they were like, no, he's not gonna shave.
That'd have
I'm
been
like,
a lot.
okay, whatever.
Not even CGI. You could literally have shaved it off and then stuck one of those stick-on mustaches on his face, and it would have looked, and it would have
One
came
of
out
them Austin
better.
Powers mustaches.
And it would have
Oh my
came out
God.
better than that freaking
Yeah.
CGI thing.
Well,
But
and
like,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say as well, there's literally nothing to even talk about for Justice League. That's the thing. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf invades, Themyscira, and gets the mother box he needs, and then he invades Atlantis and gets the mother box he needs, and we see a bit of Themyscira, and we see a bit of Atlantis, and get introduced to Mira, and then it's like, okay, and we see Batman doing some stuff, and then it's like, to beat this guy we have to resurrect Superman, and nothing happens
Yeah,
in
I
the
think you're right. It's
entire
just
movie.
just
It's
a
like
lot of fan service. Just
it's the worst thing about it is like nothing happens, but there's not even as much fan service. At least Batman v Superman gave the fan service. Justice League,
yeah.
even that wasn't as good as it was. Literally, the best bit of that movie is 100% when Superman's back, and he's got Aquaman, Wonder
Oh, I
Woman,
know where
and
you're going with
Cyborg
this.
all charging at him, and he's holding them, and like even Cyborg's pushing, and he's not moving.
Yep.
And Flash tries to run round the outside of him, and then you just see the
Yeah.
eye go and just catches him at the corner of his eye and just flashes face of like, oh.
Dude, that's awesome. He
One
slowly turns toward
hundred
Flash.
percent. 100% that made me a fan of Henry Cavill's Superman again.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
that was awesome. That was
and then it's
awesome.
like, and I don't know if it was just like if I was just done by that point, but even like after that happened, and we get to the final fight scene because we've already seen them fight the freaking parademons at one point, but then we get to like the final scene, the invasion. They're taking on Steppenwolf. I'm like, I just felt so bored during that fight.
It was boring. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. It was boring.
I
You have
felt
these nameless or faceless parademon, like folly or whatever that's called.
yeah.
Yeah. Fodder. That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Well, and because that's the thing, this came out round about not that long before like Black Panther came out for the MCU, and I know Black Panther got a lot of like praise and stuff for it because of what it was doing for like black representation and all that sort of stuff, and literally I think it was like within the opening weekend, Black Panther raised more than Justice League's entire cinematic run.
That
Just
should not have happened.
Justice League, and I love the Avengers movie. It's like I
Mhm.
know Joss Whedon done some awful stuff in that movie as well.
Awful.
100%. It's like, but like I've got such a nostalgia for that movie. Like I will happily watch it over Age of Ultron any day.
Yeah.
But like literally, I will watch that movie, and I'm like, that's an Avengers movie. it has flaws and it has faults, but like I am content. Justice League had the potential to blow that out of the water.
Yeah.
You have
Agreed.
you have household names.
Mm-hmm.
How did you screw that up?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think part of it is like they threw stuff together and hope it worked. Because the thing is, like, I'm a comic fan. I know who the Flash is. I know who Barry Allen is. Average, common comic readers, not everybody knows who he is, let alone the general movie-going audience who've never picked up a Flash comic and have never watched the CW Flash TV series.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why? You've basically given them this character and went, oh, like this guy. He's a cool guy. He's a hero.
Yeah. He can run fast.
And that's just like, you don't even know who he is. We're not even going to get into the fact of like how awful he was. People like that, oh, he's one of the best bits about that movie. Like, I hate the Flash in that.
Yeah.
Shut up and stop telling jokes.
Yeah, he was like,
Your
oh,
jokes
this stuff felt so forced.
It's
man.
like, it's so awkward and so weird. And I'm like, well, Joss Whedon wrote your lines, didn't he? You can freaking tell.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Josh Whedon, I think like you can tell which scenes, like just visually, he reshot, because there's a spot where Bruce Wayne goes and tries to kind of get Aqua Bro into the Justice League, and he's talking to him, and they're outside, and he's getting ready to jump in the water, and it shows a close up of Bruce Wayne. You could tell it's Zack Snyder based off the color scale and all that stuff. Yeah. It goes back to Aqua Bro, and then it comes back to Bruce Wayne, and he's like probably 15 pounds heavier. The coloring is off. It's a different directive style. It's like so like just blatant.
Literally anything in Justice League that's like dark is a Zack Snyder shot, and then whenever they bring a light into it, you're like, that's a Whedon shot.
Yeah,
that's a Whedon shot.
We need 10 more lights in here. Yeah,
it's like I felt like Justice League didn't accomplish anything, and like it didn't get me.
I agree.
It didn't get me hyped for a second part, because it's meant to be hyping up to the fact of here comes Darkseid.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I'm like, dear goodness, and why start with Steppenwolf? I get you're leading up to Darkseid, but Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Steppenwolf.
Comic book fans can't stick Steppenwolf. He does nothing. Even if you're doing someone that works with Darkseid, and like, there's so many more people. Hell, I'd have taken Granny Goodness.
Yeah.
The leader of like the freaking Valkyries, the Harpies. I would have freaking taken her.
Yeah.
Like Steppenwolf. No. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Then if we keep going, because like there's 9 movies and we're on like 2.
I was about to say, we just dogged the mess out of Justice League, so we could probably move on.
Yeah. So that's Justice League, but we jumped way ahead.
Yeah, we did.
Because like there was Man of Steel, and we waited 3 years to get Batman v Superman, where they crushed everything together.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the next film you would think to add into the series? Another solo movie for a Justice Leaguer?
Mm-hmm.
Another character that's going to play a big part in the upcoming Justice League movies? No, we're going to do Suicide Squad.
A team of people that nobody cares about.
Suicide Squad, which literally was a case of like, I honestly, like, it's so funny that the one coming out is going to be directed by James Gunn now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I literally looked at the trailer for that, and it felt like they were trying to do their version of Guardians of the Galaxy. This team,
I agree.
This team that no one had heard of, that was going to be kind of fun, that was going to be spouting stuff, that was going to be saying all that. And it's like, which I'm like, that's awesome. Because like, I'm fine with Suicide Squad. I like Suicide Squad. They're going to throw Harley Quinn in there. Yep, she's part of it since the New 52, and she's a big star now. She's one of the pillars of DC now, so of course they're going to put her in there. Even if it's just because we're going to get Margot Robbie to take her top off and bend over. I'm like, yay, well done. You're pandering to the male demographic. Congratulations. Yeah. Attractive women looks attractive. Well done. It's like, it's congratulations for that. And I'm like, the rest of the characters like were just not meant to be the focus. You had Will Smith in this movie, and he didn't even feel like a focus. It was literally the Harley Quinn show.
I agree. I do think that they did Harley Quinn. I think she was as close to perfect as you can get that.
Oh yeah, they did a good job with her. Don't get me wrong. It's like, as much as I'm saying it became the Harley Quinn show, they at least got her right.
Yeah, I think Will Smith did an excellent job. I don't know much about Deadshot, but I think he did an excellent job.
I think he did good, except for the fact of that he was a little bit too quippy.
Yo, you think? Yeah, like
My
I said,
my
I don't know
only
much
thing for
about
my only
Deadshot.
thing for Deadshot is I would have made him. Don't get me wrong, he's a charismatic guy.
Hmm.
It really felt like it was Will Smith with a gun at certain points.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
That's my only thing. Apart
Yeah.
from those little bits, like yeah, he did a good job. I mean, he was a good choice
So
overall.
from the first production photo of Jared Leto as the Joker until I actually saw the movie and sat through the whole thing,
Oh,
my opinion of that just got stronger, and I hate everything about that Joker.
oh,
I hate
100%.
everything about it.
That picture dropped, and
I
I was
hate the
like, what
tattoos. I
the
hate the way he
heck
acts.
did they do to him?
And I'm a Jared Leto fan. Like I love him as an actor, but that Joker was awful, awful.
He was a horrific Joker. He was like, I get they were trying to do a different direction with him, but again, this goes into the whole thing of them like just randomly like cherry picking stuff. So instead of like a Joker that fits in with like the DC comics, the Joker that we got ended up being the one from the Brian Azzarello Joker comic,
Yeah, where he's like a mob boss, right, or
where
something
it's
like that.
like basically he's a mob boss and like
Yeah.
he's completely off his rocker. I mean, in that comic, he goes ahead and like skins a guy alive and stuff like that. It's not even a case of like that. Oh, he's doing this because he finds it funny, because that's the Joker's whole thing. He does horrific stuff and finds it funny. He's
Hmm.
literally just not there. He's gone.
Yeah.
But they try to play it up as his mob boss, and I'm like, it's. And the worst thing about it was every trailer had him front and center. So much so,
Yeah.
so
And I
much
felt
so
like a
that
lot of the stuff in the trailers that they showed wasn't in the movie.
a bunch of stuff wasn't, but like that tends to happen these days. Like
Yeah.
that. But like with Jared Leto, his Joker was front and center,
Yeah.
100%. And then what they did was to the point of like where they basically thought, oh, it's Joker they're going after,
Hmm.
because otherwise, why is he here?
Yeah.
And then they just didn't. He was in like 3 scenes,
Yeah.
and most of it was like flashback stuff for Harley Quinn, and then he shows up at the end to get her. And even Warner Brothers ran away from the idea of him as a Joker after Joker came out with Joaquin
Just
Phoenix.
awful.
So much so that Birds of Prey literally opens with Harley Quinn talking about them breaking up,
Yeah.
and that she's on the rebound from the Joker.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna distance ourselves away from that abomination of a Joker.
Like literally, the next Harley Quinn movie, they're like, "Oh yeah, she's moving on with her life now.
Yeah.
We're getting away from that Joker." Which I'm like, I think that's them trying to kind of go, that Joker doesn't exist. It's like, what Joker we want you to focus on is Joaquin Phoenix's one, and if we can find a way to get him in the DCEU, we're going to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, I felt like to me, I felt like the story was weak, and I felt like the team felt forced. And I feel like what Suicide Squad, and I like Suicide Squad better than I do Justice League. I don't think it was a terrible movie by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination. I think Joker was awful, but I think that it suffers from some of the same issues that Justice League did when you just have this just thousands of just faceless enemies that are just the main fodder for the movie, and then you come across this your last boss, basically the boss fight that you don't really care about, honestly.
Oh yeah, it was thrown in though, because like they kind of tried to keep it as secret, like it was this big surprise, because they kept putting like Enchantress and all the like Suicide Squad stuff, and then it ends up like she turns on them and everything,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like, I don't really care. It's like, don't get me wrong though, I will say this, it's a guilty pleasure watching Suicide Squad. Like
Yeah.
it's like watching a crappy like straight to DVD action movie for me.
Hmm.
Like I can switch my brain off and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make a ton of sense, but it's like it's up for a good laugh. I would have liked it to be not slapsticky, but a little bit more comedic and a little bit more fun element to it.
Yeah.
Because I would love them to explore that more. Like, these characters are nuts, they're villains, but they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I would
I
love them
agree.
to have explored that a little bit more and make it a bit more Guardians of the Galaxy. This is your way to compete with that.
Yeah, and
And
before they even came out with that movie or were even talking about making that movie, I remember seeing the DC animated movie, The Suicide Squad, and
mm,
I thought it was really cool.
that's
And
so good.
I didn't know anything about the Suicide Squad
Oh
before I
yeah,
watched that, and I was
that
like,
animated the
"Oh, this
assault,
is sweet."
Batman Assault on Arkham, like the Suicide Squad one.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it. That's it.
go and watch that. It's phenomenal. It's a
So
phenomenal animated
I
movie.
went into this movie with that as a filter for me,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, and I was pretty disappointed to
Mm,
be honest.
I know, definitely. And from what it could have been, yeah, but like it's hardly the worst one on the list.
I agree, 100%.
All right, so moving on, because we're already over an hour mark, so and we've got a ton of movies, so I want to kind of jump through the next couple just with ideas, because
Sure.
because this is when it starts getting good. I say that as Justice League in the middle of this, where it just went horribly wrong. But the next one was Wonder Woman. That came out
Meh.
after Suicide Squad, came out as a precursor to Justice League. Like, renowned. Everybody loved Wonder Woman. Everyone thought Patty Jenkins was amazing, thought this was a feat of awesomeness, how phenomenal this was. I thought it was alright.
Yeah, it was all right. I think what DC does good is there are aspects of the movies that are just they blow me away.
Yeah.
Like I think with Wonder Woman, how they show how strong she is, how she basically there's a couple spots. The one where she goes up into no man's land and she's deflecting bullets with her gauntlets and she just wrecks shop. And
Oh,
the other
yeah.
one when she throws the tank. I think she throws a tank into like a watchtower where a dude
Yeah.
is hiding. Like, dude,
Like,
that's phenomenal.
I think Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman was just phenomenal. She's
I
amazing.
agree.
She is Diana.
Yep.
Everything they did with her herself,
Mhm.
I thought was good. I thought she
Yeah,
was
I
perfect
agree.
casting. I have had no issue with her, whether it was Wonder Woman, whether it was Batman v Superman, whether it was Justice League. She's phenomenal. I'm excited for them doing Wonder Woman 84. I know that's been pushed back. When is it to August 14th? The date for that is now.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that. Like Wonder Woman, I have got no issues with Gal Gadot doing that.
yeah.
My main issue is how much praise everyone gives it as if it's this phenomenal thing.
Hmm.
But I think it's on par with any Phase 1 Marvel movie. Like, it's a good
I would
kind of
agree.
origin movie. Not saying that makes it bad.
Mhm.
Not saying that makes it bad. I'm just saying, like, because when did that come out? 2017? 2018? 2017.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman came out. At that era, we have had 2 Avengers movies. We have had so many Marvel movies that have pushed the boundaries of what it means to be a superhero movie. I felt like Wonder Woman was like, it was a good movie for what it was, and they really had to do it. They had to go back to basics. I fully believe that, and they did a good job with that.
Mhm.
But I felt like, yeah, it was a good origin story. It was a good basic movie.
Well, you also had that same year, you had Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you had Thor Ragnarok, and
Mm.
you had Logan.
Yeah,
All in that year.
and see, that's my thing. When you look at movies like that, which I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's like I know we've been saying that DCU just started at this point. This is like movie 5 or something.
Hmm.
But you look at how far, like, not just like where Marvel had went or where X-Men had went, but where superhero movies had gone and what we had asked of them.
Hmm.
It wasn't just enough to be a superhero movie. You had to tell a credible story on
Yeah.
top of it.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy is still a space opera, and Volume 2 explores the whole stuff with Peter and his dad and goes into all that exciting stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy too. You've then got Logan, which like is still one of the pinnacle of superhero movies. The stuff that movie pushed into
Hmm.
is still phenomenally done, you know. And then
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, which is like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like the massive amount of comedy in that. I'll be honest, it's one of my favorite MCU movies. I can't sit down and watch Thor Ragnarok and not just enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I want from like comic books and superhero movies. Is like I want to be able to say I sat down and enjoyed myself.
Yeah. Yep.
I just don't think Wonder Woman pushed it to that same level.
Agreed.
Saying that, it's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but I'm interested.
No, it's not a bad movie.
I'm interested to see where it goes.
And I feel like full transparency, like I'm pretty sure we both own all these movies, if
Yeah,
not
it's
most
like,
of them. So even the ones that we're trashing, we still own them and like we still support them because
oh
we
yeah,
support the the genre as a whole. But
100%. Like it's the genre as a whole is a. I love the superhero movies, and some of these are amazing. Like some of these movies are some of my favorite comic book movies, especially the ones coming up are some of my favorites, especially from DC. It's the next one. I know I am in the minority for this. The next
I
one,
think I know where you're going.
next one is Aquaman.
Oh yeah,
I personally did not like Aquaman. There you
yeah. I wasn't a fan either. I think I wasn't a fan for a different reason than a lot of people weren't though.
go. Mhm.
I just don't like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I think he was the wrong choice personally.
I would agree with that. It's not the reason that I'm not a fan of the movie. I think the movie's got many, many flaws.
Agreed.
Personally, I don't think he was the right casting, but even taking that out, I don't think it would have made it better. I don't think another actor would have been able to do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at Jason Momoa, and I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of Aquaman in the comics. I don't think he was the right choice to play Aquaman.
I honestly, this might be blasphemy, but I don't really think he's that great of an actor, honestly.
I think
Uh,
he's all right. It's like I've not actually seen him in that many things to like be able to judge him properly. Like I'm not a massive like purveyor of Jason Momoa's work, to be honest.
yeah.
The main things I have seen him in are the DC movies, and he does an alright job. Like I can see what they were trying to do with him with his Aquaman, and I give them credit for trying to do something different. The problem I have with DC trying to do something different is that they've not successfully done what fans are
Something
asking
that's not
for.
different.
You know, it's like that. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, taking a different chance can change things. Like, you know, if Marvel didn't do something different, we'd have never got Iron Man in the comics the way he is.
Yeah.
Because Robert Downey Jr. played him completely different from the way the comics wrote him.
Hmm.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And fans latched on to it. Aquaman, not so much. Like, everything about the movie, I wasn't a fan of. I didn't think the story told a great story to it. I hate the underwater shots. Everyone talks about this epic battle at the end, and I'm like, I can barely see it.
See, I think that was probably one of the better aspects of the film.
I-
Was how they did the underwater, because I was really trepidatious about how they were going to do that. But I thought they pulled it off pretty well. I do agree though that the last battle was pretty dark.
It's like,
Um,
I want to be able to see what's going on. I get it, it's underwater. I get underwater is dark.
mhm.
Good job on realism. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah,
I still want to see what's going on in the freaking screen though. You know, it's like but I know I'm in the minority for that. I know a lot of people loved Aquaman.
yeah.
So much
Somebody,
so much so that it's getting a sequel as well. You know, it's like it's okay, it's getting a sequel, fantastic. Whether it's got Amber Heard in it, we'll find out soon.
yeah.
But you know, it's like at most it was passable. I don't think a lot of the casting was great. I don't think Jason Momoa was right for that. I don't know about the guy that got to play Orm.
See, I liked him.
Ocean
What was
Master.
it Wilson? Something Wilson.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I don't think he. I think he could have been a good choice for it. I don't know if I like the writing for him.
Yeah, I think also Black Manta, is that his name? Or
Yeah.
Manta?
Yeah,
I don't
Black
know.
Manta, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that whole thing was like shoehorned in. It felt just shoehorned.
I feel like it was
It-
shoehorned in, but it was one of the fight scenes I really enjoyed was seeing him go with Black Manta.
I do agree with that. I do agree
I
with
felt
that.
like that fight scene was really good, and I felt like it set up Black Manta as a good future villain because he's a big villain for Aquaman.
Yeah.
So like I'm excited to see more of him.
I like how they didn't alter his comic look. They kept
No,
it. That was awesome.
That costume was amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I look at like Jason Momoa and I'm like, you just don't look like you should be in that outfit. The comic outfit does not look on you, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's the outfit that's the issue for him. I think it just doesn't look good on Momoa.
Yeah.
But Black Manta's outfit, I'm like,
Phenomenal.
okay, you've hit the money here.
I think that was probably I think that's probably one of the top translations from comic book costume to on-screen
Oh,
costume.
100%. I'm just looking as well at the dates. I think one of the things that made Aquaman like lackluster for me as well was it was over a year between the last movie that came out before it, which was Justice League,
Mhm.
which came out November 2017, and
Mhm.
Aquaman, which came out December 2018.
Yeah.
So literally, it looked like Justice League bombed,
Yeah.
and then we had to wait over a year for their next movie. And I just felt like it didn't live up to what was the hype.
Yeah, you had a lot of that fervor that people were wanting just kind of died out.
Yeah, it's like people stopped kind of caring about it, I feel like. But the next movie is one of my favorite DC movies. Came out at the start of 2019, Shazam.
Yeah.
I know he's an underappreciated character in the comics. I like him in the comics. I like Billy Batson, I like Shazam, and I think the Shazam movie was a great take on it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought Zachary Levi was a really cool choice.
Oh yeah.
I
Levi was
liked
like-
how they did the costume. One thing I will say about it is like I feel like they just introduced Shazam, and now towards the end of the movie they're introducing all of these Shazam-ish characters. And I feel like that's kind of taken some shine away from Shazam. I don't know.
I feel like they could have waited to Shazam 2 to bring in the Shazam family.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing is, the Shazam family is like, I'm glad they are at least including them because Shazam
Yeah.
family are a big part of the Shazam lore.
Hmm.
Like the lore for that is a massive thing with the Shazam family, so I'm kind of glad that we did get that
Yeah.
included. I think they should have waited to the next one. But like I thought what we did with this one was good. I know a lot of people think it's very kiddie, very daft, very, it's more comedy focused, and I'm like, good. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Because you need to take it for what it is, and what it is a kid being given the body of a grown up and the powers of a superhero.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, I mean, I love it. I love this stuff like going in and buying beer. I love the fact of him trying to fly, like running up the skateboard ramp and it fails. And
Yeah.
I think it's just, it keeps it nice and light-hearted. It doesn't try to cram too much in. It keeps a very simple story, but it hits the right tones with it, with what you're meant to get, because we get the superhero aspect, we get a lot of Billy Batson and his background, we get his new foster family, we get so much stuff in there. The only thing I hate in that movie is that for some reason they refused to put Henry Cavill in at the end.
Yeah, that was a cool surprise though. That
Superman walks
cameo.
Yeah, Superman walks in and we never see the face because they never got Henry Cavill in the outfit, and I'm like, you literally have Superman still willing to play Superman. He's still willing to be that. I know Ben Affleck's gone. I know like that's happened, and all the Justice League stuff's falling apart. We might have lost our Flash thanks to Ezra Miller's stupid outburst. I get it, and then you might be going to more solo movies. There is no reason that couldn't have been Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I agree.
He was willing to put it on, and he got told no, at least from what reports say on it. And it's like
so dumb. Like, why would you say no to that?
But I personally, I loved Shazam. I thought the villain was a good choice for it, for the opener, because it's a big villain for Shazam. I thought it was a good, simple opening for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
My issue with it is going into the next one, are we actually going to get to see him in Black Adam? Because that's what everyone's waiting for. Black Adam is the equivalent of his big villain, because it's another guy with the powers of Shazam, and I think he's powered by the Egyptian gods. Okay. I believe, whereas like
I don't know anything about Black Adam.
Is more the Greek gods. But instead what we're getting is a Black Adam like anti-hero movie.
Isn't he kind of like an anti-hero though? Like he's like the Punisher or like Venom.
He becomes an anti-hero, but I'm like, but it was the fact of like that The Rock basically chose to be, like Dwayne Johnson chose he was going to play Black Adam.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
And then out of nowhere, they kind of went when they announced the Shazam movie. Went, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm doing a Black Adam movie. And I'm like, he's got such a focus on this Black Adam thing.
Yeah.
To the point of like, it's like, oh, we're going to do a Black Adam movie, and I'm like, you can't do your Justice League heroes right. Why are we getting a Black Adam movie?
Yeah, that's so dumb.
If you want to set up for him to become an anti-hero, that's fine, but his role right now should be a villain for Shazam. Shazam's not got that many like well-known villains. One of his his best-known villain is Black Adam. Why are you not putting him in a Shazam movie?
Yeah,
100%. I feel like it's because of The Rock, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
But yeah, Shazam for me, I think was a good one. I personally enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites. So, our next one is 100% probably one of the most popular, and without a doubt the most successful movie DC has released since they started the DCEU. And it is technically not in the DCEU. I am, of course, talking about Joker. Because the reason I want to include this is because technically it's not in the DCEU. But as soon as they find a loophole, he will be.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to work on a loophole for him to be in Robin Pattinson's Batman to face off. Because Joker was just so popular and so successful.
I really think what they need to do is focus on individual movies. Focus on individual character movies and don't think about tying them in. Just focus on the movies, because when they do that approach, you see what happens. Like, Joker was phenomenal. I thought it was phenomenal.
See, I think Joker's got an amazing opportunity now to be the main Joker of the DCEU. If they try to go back and retcon it and try to get him in, I think there's an amazing opportunity for that now, because they changed the origin of Batman just enough. Like, see, like with the Marvel movies, how they changed the Marvel origins. Like even something simple like Iron Man is now like the father figure to Peter Parker.
Yeah,
and setting him up for his thing. Like, that never happened in the comics. Obviously, that was never a thing in the comics.
Yeah,
they were friends, they knew each other, but it was never a kid like looking up to Tony Stark in that way that they've done it. They've rewritten the movies for what works for their universe. I think they've altered the origin of Batman just enough Because you can still have it being Joe Chill that shot Bruce's parents.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have it being that, and that they were killed in the alley, which we see happen at the end of Joker. Spoilers. Again, we did warn you.
Yeah, we did.
Spoilers throughout it. You see that taking place, so it's like, oh, well, that's the origin for Batman right there. It's like, I'm okay with it being Joker being the one that flip-flopping it from like being spoilers galore. I thought I'm okay with flip-flopping it from being like, you know, Batman who bumped into the Joker when he was forced into the Red Hood gang and he topples into the vat and he becomes like the Joker, and it was Batman that caused that to happen. I'm okay with the movies flip-flopping that and like, you know, Joker to going the route it went in being the cause of what caused Batman.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. That doesn't bother me.
I'm okay with that, and
as long as the essence of the character is still there.
And I think that Joker would be perfect for it. I think I love Joker. I 100% love Joker. Is there gruesomeness? Is there violence in it? Yes, there is. I will be honest though, when you hear everybody talking about how much violence there is in it, there's not as much as I thought there was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think it took the story far. A lot of people were complaining because it's like, you know, it's like it shows people with mental health issues and it shows them going, you know, they're in a bad light because they could turn out like the Joker, or it was worried about copycats. I'm like, I think it actually perfectly encapsulates what is it, the Killing Joke.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of the Killing Joke, when like Joker like kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, and that is all it takes is one bad day.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
it's kind of like along the same vein.
Yeah, it's like that was the whole thing that Alan Moore wrote, and that was like all it takes is one bad day and someone can turn out like the Joker.
Yeah.
And basically this encapsulates it and basically shows it and showcases it of like, it wasn't just one bad day, no, but like it was a series of run-on things.
Yeah.
It isn't just because this guy's got mental health issues, it's abuse that he's taken, it's all this crap that he's dealt with, and no one gave him anything, and he snapped.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's interesting to see that, and I would love to see that character explored more.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way they portrayed Arthur Fleck, I think the way that they portrayed his downward spiral to becoming the Joker, everything was just so well done.
Dude, there was such an unease. Like, spoiler alerts again for those of you who haven't seen it, but when he's finally turning into the Joker and he had that white face paint on, and those two work colleagues come into his apartment after he, again, spoiler alert, kills that one dude, and the other dude's freaking out. Like, it is so incredibly tense, and you have no idea what's going to happen, and that is exactly how the Joker is.
He's sitting basically cradling this dead former work colleague.
Yeah.
Talking calmly to the other one, and even tells him, like, I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
But you're like, in the back of your head,
you're like, are you though?
Are you? Because like, you literally don't know what's going to happen in that scene.
Yeah, and then he scares him, like, scares him when he's leaving the apartment. It's just brilliant.
It's so
awesome.
well done, and like even like how they show that his mind isn't totally there. Like even like his whole relationship, again spoilers, but his whole relationship with a woman in the apartment a few doors down.
Yeah,
she's no idea who he is, and you find out every like connection he's had with her, all this time he spent with her. Because like at first, like when I was watching it, I honestly thought, is she going to become like Harley Quinn? Is this going to be like this version of Harley?
Yeah.
Because this is a standalone movie at this point, so I'm like, is this going to be like an alternate version of Harley that becomes like his, you know, sidekick?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and like, no, this woman has no idea who he is. And I'm like, when that happened, I was like, oh, he's that mental. I'm like,
yeah, he's totally gone. Yeah,
amazing.
And then there's the whole aspect of, you don't know if this whole movie took place in his mind as he's talking to the therapist. Which has been hinted at, actually.
Yeah, that was the other big thing of like that. It's like, has this whole thing just been in his head, like, or is he just in Arkham?
Yeah.
And he's just been imagining the whole thing. Is Arthur Fleck just nuts? And like at any point in the movie, he could have literally been taken to Arkham and imagined the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like, has he always been there? Was he taken there, like, you know, while he was taking care of his mom? Was he taken there after he murdered those guys? Was he, you know, on the train? Was he taken there after it all happened? It's like,
yeah.
You literally have no clue. And
it's so cool. Yeah, it's so cool.
It's such a cool movie. Well done.
It's beautifully shot.
Yeah. I want to see that Joker come back if they do him right, like as part of the DCEU. I'd love to see where they explore it. I really also hope, though, we don't get Joker 2. I don't want another, like, separate thing with that Joker.
Okay.
Because like it's one of those movies that I honestly feel like if you try to do a sequel part to it, you're probably going to muck it up.
Yeah.
You would have to get it perfect to be just right. I
You
honestly
know,
feel.
I think I'm okay with them setting their DCEU in a different time frame, like a different time period. I would be totally 100% okay with that. Like,
Oh yeah,
obviously, this happened in the early, like, I think it was 1980. The setting was 1980. If they
yeah. It's the
set the
80s.
Batman in, like, the 90s, dude, I would be 100% okay with that.
Yeah,
100%.
I'd be fine with that. I would not have
Yeah.
an issue with it being. There's nothing saying that the universe has to be now. It has to be
Yeah,
modern day.
exactly.
Nothing at all. As long as the stories are good, I'll watch it. You know.
I'm super pumped about the Batman, by the way. I
I'm
really hope
I'm
it
intrigued
turns
for
out
it.
to be good.
All right, so let's quickly wrap up. There's only one film left, and I don't have a massive amount to say on it personally. And then I'll quickly go over the stuff that's officially coming out from them. So the last one was Birds of Prey and the
Sorry.
fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, because it wasn't going to be a weird enough title for people to want to go and see without us putting that in. I love the fact though, after it having like crap sales for like the first weekend, they basically renamed it Harley Quinn in the Birds of
Yeah.
Prey.
They were like, yeah, we're not distancing ourselves. I thought it was
I
okay. I don't know much about the Birds of Prey, like those specific characters. So that was my introduction to
full
probably all of it.
yeah, full context. I have not seen this movie.
Okay.
I have not seen it yet. I've read reviews on it. I've read everything about it. I've watched clips of it. I've not seen the full movie itself.
Yeah.
Everything I've read, I hate.
I thought it was okay. And my wife is a huge Harley Quinn fan, Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, and she was like, it was okay. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't really have a whole
it,
lot to say about it.
that's the thing. It's a Harley Quinn movie. I
Yeah,
don't
that's basically what it
I
is.
don't know why they threw the Birds of Prey in there. I thought it was a really random group to throw in there. It's like
If it,
Black
it,
Canary being like, the singer in the club and all that, and then her powers are there. Like, it was a different take on her. Huntress was there. Like, I get you've got the two of them involved because they were parts of Birds of Prey, but I'd rather wait and put them with either Batgirl or Oracle so you can do the actual Birds of Prey.
it almost felt like they tried to do a Deadpool movie with Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah,
That's what it felt
I
like,
have no
honestly.
doubt. I have no doubt that was always their idea. Um, and then on top of it, you decided for some reason to have Cassandra Cain Orphan in there and make her nothing like her comic book counterpart.
Yeah,
This,
who is she in the comics?
she actually at one point became Batgirl. She's
Oh,
like a
okay.
badass that's been trained to be an assassin, like from a
Oh,
young
got it.
age.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, they just did not do that with her. And I'm like, really? It's like, so like I feel like when they do their standalone stuff, it's a
Yeah.
lot better. Like
Yeah.
what we've seen in the standalone stuff have been a lot more successful. I've been a lot more a fan of than stuff that's linked to the DCEU.
Agreed.
Full context though, I am not a massive Harley Quinn fan. I think Margot Robbie does a great job portraying the character. I am just not a massive fan of the character herself. I liked her as a sidekick or a partner to the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
On her own solo run, I could really take her or leave her. I don't care
Yeah.
personally. Um,
She's great in the animated series.
absolutely. But that's all the DC movies. So like overall rating then. Last kind of comment on the stuff we've talked about because we're already hitting over an hour and a half now. So what would you say we've summed up a lot of the DC movies. So like the DCEU as a whole, how would you sum it up in positive or negative?
I would say it's mediocre at best, with a couple really really high points and a lot of low points.
Hmm.
So I would say slightly below average.
Yeah, I would say definitely struggled to find its footing.
Hmm.
It was so focused on getting Avengers money that they
Hmm.
tried to throw everything at the wall and hope it stuck.
Yeah.
And that was a negative for it, definitely. But I think it started to find its footing. It still has missteps here and there,
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, but I think it's starting to find its footing more. And don't get me wrong, as saying this as someone, I'm not a fan of most of the DCEU. I want them to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a DC fan. I love these heroes. I love these characters. I want them to succeed like Marvel. I don't see Marvel and DC at competition with each other. I
No.
love both universes. There's this whole big thing of Marvel versus DC. I want them to both succeed. I
Yeah.
love both of the universes. I want to see them both do well.
Yeah. I just feel like and this probably would be my last thought on this, but I feel like Marvel has a very successful process that they go through with their movies, building up to big events, all in the same universe. I don't think it would be a bad thing for DC to kind of take a different approach
Oh
and just
yeah,
do one-off films and not have to like force tie it into an entire universe because I think that's where they have all those missteps.
definitely. I would definitely agree with that. I think there's nothing wrong with doing a solo movie. Doing solo movies, you've got the characters, you can do great franchises with them, and if you ever wanted to cross them later, you can.
Hmm.
But I'd focus on doing the solo stuff well. Not everything has to be like Marvel and be the extended universe. Do what you're
Yeah.
doing and do it well.
Yep.
So I just wanted to finish up saying the upcoming movies because there's actually quite a few that are slated. I am only mentioning movies that actually have release dates that are coming up for the DC movies. There's a bunch of them that were announced, especially right back at the beginning, that have not got people attached, that have not got release dates. As far as I'm concerned, they are not happening. Until I get release dates, until I hear stuff, I don't care.
Hmm.
Next one is going to be Wonder Woman 1984, which has been pushed back to August 14th this year. Obviously, it's meant to be coming out earlier, but obviously with the coronavirus stuff, it's been pushed back. Next one we've got is going to be The Batman, which is set to come out June 25th next year.
Hmm.
Following that is going to be Suicide Squad 2, or I just found it under This Suicide Squad, so I
Yeah.
don't know if it's technically a sequel or if they're technically counting it as a reboot.
I think it's gonna be like a soft reboot, is what they're
It's
calling
like a
it.
soft reboot with James Gunn attached to direct. That's coming out August 6th next year, so we'll get the Batman and then Suicide Squad. And then apparently the Black Adam movie is set for December 22nd, 2021.
Hmm.
So we'll have the Batman, Suicide Squad, and Black Adam all next year.
That'd be cool.
And then in 2022, oh, getting a lot of feedback in your mic there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, this thing is kind of gone now. I don't know what happened there. Then 2022, we've got Shazam 2 coming out April 1st. Then the Flash movie is scheduled for July 1st. We'll see if that happens. And then Aquaman 2 scheduled for December 16th.
Hmm.
So there's about 7 movies slated for the actual release dates for the DCEU. So
Maybe half of them will happen.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. Like literally, the Ezra Miller one I think is honestly up in the air right now, depending how this gets
Yeah.
handled going forward.
Yep.
And the others we'll wait and see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens with them. But they're the ones that are announced. They've also announced like Batgirl and Nightwing and all this other stuff. But like literally, it's like, oh, we're going to throw this movie and this movie and this movie, and then it's like, no, you're literally just saying stuff now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for talking on the DCEU. This is the end of part 1. We are going to come back next week to pitch our own DCEU and how we would do it, because we know you care about that stuff and what our opinions are. So, well, I hope you do, because you come back and watch us. So,
Yeah.
I hope you care about what our opinions are. But yeah, so come back and check out that as we go into that. Just to wrap up the stream today, a couple of little plugs that I never did at the start. As I put them in chat, first of all, check out our amazing sponsor, Gamer Grind Co. #1 coffee for gamers. Hashtag on that grind. If you follow that link I have put in the chat, that'll take you to their website to get some absolutely amazing coffee. Honestly, my favorite coffee in the world. I love the Gamer Grind stuff. And I'll also give a little bit of money to the chat. Also, as well, on Gamer Grind now, an amazing, exciting announcement. You can actually go to our team store. Comics in the Cross has a team store on there with our very own coffee mug and sticker available for purchase. So I will be getting one of those mugs so I can show it off on stream. So go ahead and check them out. If you do like what we are doing here, please go ahead and support us on Patreon if you're able to. Again, I know people are struggling financially at the moment with lots of different stuff, so it's not a mandatory thing. But if you do want to support us, check that link out. Lowest you can support us for is $2 a month, and there's a lot of different things that come with each tier. And that range from being included in prize giveaway pullings to Nitro is going to be doing some artwork for people who sub at a certain level, and also just being involved in the creative process. Also as well, speaking of our merchandise, you can see it below us. If you scroll down on Twitch, there's actually a Teespring shop now available on there where you can see some of our merchandise. But I'm going to throw it in the chat as well, where you can now purchase a Comics in the Cross t-shirt, Comics in the Cross hoodie, and a Comics in the Cross set of leggings. Something for the ladies. And for myself, I like the softness against my skin.
I was about to say, I'm wearing them right now.
I guess, yeah, literally I put them in there because my wife wears nothing but leggings and yoga pants at this point, so it's like literally it's the best way to get her to advertise them. So like, yeah, I'll get you a pair of those, hon. Look, you can put the Comics to the Cross logo on them. Fantastic.
That's hilarious.
So we have merchandise available. Please go and check it out, guys. And also, you may have noticed the hashtag in the channel as well. I do want to give a massive shout out to this. We are so close to becoming Twitch affiliate.
Yeah.
We are on the road to affiliate. Hashtag road to affiliate is going to be popping up on our social media. It's going to be popping up in our chats and our streams. We need 2 more followers and an increase in our average number of viewers. So I am shouting out to you, the Comic Clan, to help us out here. If you follow us on social media, you know I don't shut up. I'm posting stuff constantly to get people's attention. We have almost 200 followers on Instagram. We have over 100 followers on Twitter. We have over 100 followers on Facebook. I know we have people that watch the show. I know we have people that follow us on social media that aren't following us on Twitch. If you have a Twitch account and you aren't following us yet, please hit that follow button.
Yeah.
We are so grateful if you do. Hit that follow button and stay up to date with what we're doing and advertise it. This is going to be available on Twitch and link our social media accounts and advertise it. A shout out to our brothers over at the Infinity Bros, absolutely amazing guys who done a shout out to us on Saturday, and their first Saturday shout out was for us. Thank you so much for that, guys.
Yeah.
But get it out there. If you love what we're doing and want to see this channel keep growing, and please advertise it out there. And then during this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, it usually goes up. I'll get it up onto YouTube so you can share the full video itself, and share this full episode. If you do, I'm actually going to say this right now. I think I kind of mentioned it to Nitro, but I'm going to say it right now. If we hit affiliate, it means we're able to get subscribers to the channel, which can get us money and keep the channel going. The first person that subscribes to our channel, if you help get us up to affiliate and subscribe, the first person that clicks on that subscribe button, I don't care if it's your own money, I don't care if it's your free Twitch Prime sub, as soon as it hits my thing and says someone is subbed, that first subscriber is going to get a free t-shirt and mug giveaway right now. I will give you a free t-shirt off a Teespring and a free mug out of our team store. And we will 100% get that. I'll get your details and we will get that shipped to you. At the very least, the t-shirt will come to you quickly. I'm going to have to make sure I pack the mug so it doesn't smash, or make sure if I can get it sent straight to you. But we'll get your details and do that. I am 100% doing that as a giveaway, as a thank you. So like, if you can get us up to affiliate and you are able to sub and want to sub, do it. You will get an automatic t-shirt and mug from us. I have not even bought that merchandise yet that's up there. I'm waiting till we can get money so I can buy our own merchandise, so you might get it even before us. So that is going out there. I will also put that up on social media. I just wanted to shout that out. But at the moment, I think that's us for this week. I think that's everything. I think I've plugged everything possible.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out, or thanks for watching this if you're watching it after the fact.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out and listening to 2 middle-aged guys ramble about comics.
Middle-aged? What?
I feel like I'm middle-aged anyway. 30 going on 50. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it's on social media, Twitch, YouTube. Also as well, yeah, if you are following us on here, by all means, please go and check out our YouTube. Did I put a YouTube one in? I did. Go and follow our new YouTube channel. We did have a YouTube up where the first episode went up. That was linked to my personal YouTube account. I have now created one specifically for Comics in the Cross where episode 1 and 2 are now available. So go and sub to that one instead of the other account to make sure people go there. But thank you guys. I think that's everything. Anything else to add on, Nitro?
Nope, that's it. Appreciate everybody.
All right. Well, everyone, have an amazing weekend. Happy Easter to all of you. I hope you're having a great Easter, whether or not you're a Christian, whether you're not, whether you celebrate Easter or not. I still hope you have a phenomenal day. Stay safe, and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone.